Welcome to the Functional Health Coaching Show, where we are here to support and answer your questions so that you can help people on a deeper level get real results and grow your health coaching business. Do you have questions you want to ask live on the show? You can call in every Friday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1-347-637-1378. Are you looking to increase your credibility and grow your health coaching business using functional lab testing and data-driven protocols so that you can confidently solve health issues? Well, we have the course for you. Go to fdn.today/show to learn more and sign up today. Okay, let's join today's episode.
So you guys have tuned into the Fantastic Friday Call, or the Functional Health Coaching Show, once again this week. I'm your host, Brandon Mollet, FDN mentor and practitioner and clinical advisor. And then also my co-host is Ryan Monahan, which pretty much has the same titles there. So he has a lot of support on the afdnp side, as well as clinical advisorship. And he's a practitioner himself and musician and a lot of cool stuff. So, but main professional titles there were very similar. So, but glad to be on with you guys, and we're going to answer some questions like we always do each week. And if you guys want to call in and ask a question, make a comment, say hello, we like any of those things. So to do that, you want to dial us up, pick up your phone, and dial 347-637-1378. Again, 347-637-1378. Hit 1 on the keypad. I'll see you on there. I'll call out your area code. Let me know your name and who you are. We probably know you, maybe not. Hopefully so. And ask a question or two. We're happy to chime in and help you out today. So it's July 31st, 2020. Hopefully everybody's doing really good. It's been busy on all fronts. My business, people coming on and wanting to work on their health with the course. A lot of new people coming on and either getting certified, moving their way through the course, or just coming on as a new trainee. So we want to welcome those folks that have just signed on, come onto the course, and are just getting into the materials and moving through the course right now. So wherever you are at the course, you're welcome on this call to jump in, chime in, or if you are just wondering about FDN and what we're about and what we can offer you, this is a great call for you to be on, hopefully, as well. It's one thing that got me excited about the course 10, almost 11 years ago now, to become a practitioner and make the leap and jump in and do this amazing work that I'm thankful to get to do every single day. All right, let's see here. Well, we have some graduates we're going to congratulate here on air today, which we do every week. But as always, I want to check in, not ignore my co-host completely in the beginning. We'll say hi to Ryan. Ryan, how are you, man?
I'm doing awesome. Glad to be here. Happy Friday.
Indeed. Thanks for joining me. It's a good time. So we'll see if we can get through a few questions here. We have some pretty thorough answers most of the time, so we're not knocking out 15 questions in a call, but I don't know, maybe we'll have a little fluky thing going here. We can get a lot accomplished, but I think we'll do quality over quantity. All right, so let's see, graduates. Let's congratulate some folks here. So every week we have graduates from our course. They are certified, they are accepted, they are, I don't know, all the good things we'd say. You're certified, we know you've been approved, we know that you know the material, that you can do this work, and then you get out there and start doing it. So once you are certified in the FDN course, within a couple days, you're running labs. You are doing the work. So if this is something you are incorporating into an existing business, then you can incorporate it right after you graduate. If you are starting to build your business, then I'd actually start to build your business before you even graduate. So as you are going through the course, let people know about what you're doing, the course that you're taking. And people get excited. So when you are certified, you come out there and you can start, you have some clients ready for you. You can start running labs on them and taking them through the address protocol. And we say around here, we test, don't guess. But a lot of people can test, right? So it's becoming more and more available to just the public. But the difference is the way that we look at those labs and the protocols and the dress protocol that we're able to put together for a person. That's what leads to the results with the coaching. So it's beyond just knowing how to interpret a lab. there's much more to it than that, and that's what we teach in the course, and that's what these 3 people are ready to do. And I got to speak with 2 out of 3, so Shannon helped me with the other one. And I appreciate her doing some verbal finals with me also, so she gets to jump in there and be part of the fun congratulatory process. So we have 3 that we want to say congratulations to this week. We have Erica, I think it's Engler, I'm going to say. I'm sorry, I didn't get the pronunciation there right, but in Texas, Austin, Texas. And Melanie Rogers from San Diego, California, so right in there in the hometown of FDM. And then Tiana Ross, and she's also out west there in Reno, Nevada. So good stuff, ladies. Terrific. Proud of you, and happy to have you join the ranks of FDM practitioners. So super cool. Good stuff. So there's 3, and that's maybe 4 to 5 is average each week. So you can be part of that. Just keep moving through those practicals. We've made a few changes with the course to speed things along a little bit and improve a few little tweaks. And so make sure you're up on that as far as how the practicals go and that whole process there to move you through the course, hopefully as quickly as you want to. We have some people that are kind of speed demons, and they like to move through really quickly and just hammer those practicals out and get through the material. They'll know it well, but they want to move through quickly. Other people, it's a little bit slower process for various reasons, and either is fine, but we want to make sure that if you do want to move through quickly, then we try to accommodate you the best that we can as far as having slots open for you to book in those practicals, that you can move through the many hours of course training materials that are there. And also you do some of your own lab testing. You're going to work on your own health while you're in the course, which is so great. I love that aspect of it. So my history of the FDN is what I learned about the FDN course through Sean Croxton's podcast, Underground Wellness. And I was going to look to be a client of his. And we talked, and he said, hey, you want to do this professionally, so why don't you just call up Reed, talk to him, why don't you take the course? Because with the course, you get to learn how to be a practitioner, but you also get to work on your own health. So there's a 2-for-1. That sounds pretty good to me. And so that's a great part of what we get to do. We make you do what you're going to have to do with your clients. So if you're not willing to do things that you're asking your clients to do, that could be a little bit of a problem with your business. That could be a holdup with your business. So if you're not willing to invest, take the plunge, to do some of the things that you're going to ask your clients to do, then maybe you need to turn the mirror on yourself there a little bit and see what changes maybe you need to make that could be holding you back. But you're moving through. Awesome, guys. Keep up the good work. We're here to support you on this call on the week on Fridays. We've got once and twice a week. We've got Zoom calls. You can jump on there, talk to mentors, talk to me, talk to Reed, talk to Dawn, course supervisor. Lots of ways to get support. It's not just an email. It's not just a Facebook post. You can jump on camera or off camera, either way you want to do it, on a Zoom call. Happy to help you out with those. Those are every other Wednesday. Reed and I are on sometimes, and usually with Dawn. She's going to be on with us. And also the trainee study hour every Friday right before this call. You can jump on and do a Zoom call there. And a lot of times talk to the man himself. Reed was in London last week that we did this, or 2 weeks ago. And so he was 7:30 at night in London and on a Zoom call. That's pretty cool. Technology makes things easy. All right, let's see. And one more thing I wanted to mention here also, just about the FDN conference, or the Functional Health Coaching Conference for 2020. I talked about this last week, and I'll be brief. We can move on to questions, but it's full steam ahead for a live, in-person conference and also via live stream. So you've got really an option there. So if you want to attend in person, you feel safe doing so. We're still having the in-person conference as long as circumstances allow us, and we're monitoring all the developments and things that are going on. But I'm talking with the venue. They have everything set up to have a really super safe environment for everyone to enjoy themselves and keep everybody safe. So if you're comfortable with coming, you want to come, they're doing every precaution that they can to make sure that we can still have the conference in person. Or you can do the live stream option. That's another option for you as well. And if you purchase a ticket and restrictions are prohibiting you from attending in person, you can swap that ticket for the live stream. or transfer it to the 2021 Functional Health Coaching Conference. That's going to be, date's already there. It's going to be in September, so a little bit earlier, and that's 2021 there as far as the time goes. So we've got some options there, and we have a 3-month payment program also if it makes it more affordable for you to attend. So going to be great, like always. So maybe a little different. It'll be memorable, I suppose, in some ways, but it's going to be great. So we've got plans to attend, looking forward to that. And you guys should consider that too. So FDNconference.com is the website there. See about the speakers that are going to be there, all the vendors, and just getting together with fellow practitioners. That's always a great thing to do. It's those relationships, right? That's what the business that we're in. We're about building relationships with people. And defer to Ryan. Anything you wanted to say before we go into questions?
I think we should just jump right in. Let's do some questions.
I think so for time-wise. All right. So I'm going to go back to this question number 1 that I thought was a nice one. So let's talk about it. Maybe I can give you a good answer as the last time. So, all right. So number 1, when developing a supplement protocol, I know we support their main complaint first. If they have a parasite, can we start the supplement protocol by using the parasite protocol, or should we coach down the adrenal HPA stress hormones first? Basically, main complaint is digestion. Parasite is present. Should parasite protocol be in the A category, one that you start with here? So how I started to answer that one there is that, of course, with FDN, our protocol is diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation. We've got 5 areas there. So supplements are part of it. And they're a big part of it. They're a very important part of the process that we do. But as Ryan and I talk about each week, there's lots of other things you want to think about besides just supplements. But it is a big part of that. And we know they're lab-guided, so we're going to know exactly what that person needs for their current biochemistry. So when putting together a protocol here, it is very tempting because many times we run our labs and we say, "Oh my goodness, look at this parasite's in here, and it's stinking up the joint. It's the big guy. We've got to get a target on this guy and get him out of our gut." That's such a cool part, right? It's like, great, we found some things that are in that sort of root cause level, one of the big causes for malfunction in the body. So very tempting to go after that. So the reason I would say most of the time not to are a few reasons. So number 1, I think, is part of the biochemistry part of it. So these organisms that are in our gut that don't belong, they want to stay in there. They don't want to go quietly, right? So they're going to hang on for dear life. They are going to resist as much as possible. So during that resistance period, when you're going through a pathogen protocol, those guys are going to kick up a little bit of their defenses, and they're already excreting waste and dying off and rotting, and their internal stuff is leaching out into your system. And if your body doesn't have detoxification pathways that can handle the load that's coming down from doing a protocol like that, then that's when you're going to have what we call die-off or a healing crisis or a Herxheimer reaction. You could not feel so great. Chances are you won't be doubled over in the bathroom floor in the fetal position crying, but you could have some nausea. You could have some changes in stool. You might have a headache or a little bit of something come up on your skin, a little bit of brain fog. Those things can happen, right, during a protocol as die-off. And usually they're relatively mild. It can be a little bit more intense, but relatively mild. So because the chances of that increase with the poor the detoxification pathways are supported, everything that we typically have you to do with the protocol, with dress, with everything, that is going to minimize the chances that your body can't process all the stuff that has to be processed to rid your body of some organisms that don't belong. So that's why I work on diet and rest and some stress reduction and put in almost all the other supplements that we'd recommend first to support all that vitality, that strength, to support those detoxification pathways, to minimize the chance that person is going to have some die-off. So as tempting as it might be to go after that big guy, I think most of the time there's a pretty good chance it could backfire on you, and not only just how the person might feel, might get discouraged there, but at the same time, everybody's coming to us. They've got some main complaints, And so if we can address those maybe without doing something like a pathogen protocol, just some GI support, general GI support, maybe some probiotics or digestive enzymes, that might help with that main complaint pretty well. That way you minimize, again, the chances that they get discouraged if the first supplement they take from you makes them feel not so great because we didn't prep the body in time. That's not a good way to get started. We want to hit some home runs from the very beginning. Ryan, would you agree, or how do you address that?
I completely agree with that. Yeah, you need to be kind of always considering all these different variables when looking at the body holistically. And, oftentimes you can provide some intelligent allopathy to throw someone a lifeboat so that maybe you can get them feeling a little better while you're working on some of those bigger issues, right? But if you're going to be going after the big fish, like a parasite, usually I'll want to make sure that I'm building a little bit of resilience before just jumping right into that. Especially if someone's, say, in a catabolic state, they've got really high cortisol, and they're, chronically stressed, they've got blood sugar handling issues, they've got, HPA axis dysfunction and so on. They may not quite be ready yet for that fight, right? So oftentimes it can be helpful to build a little resilience first before going after some of those bigger issues. Yep,
exactly. So in every case is going to be a little different. There's no problem with doing some course correction and some adjustment along the way every few times you talk with them. Give the supplements enough time to work. We don't want to keep changing things every week. But at the same time, it's okay to make some adjustments and changes. We don't hit the mark 100% every single time. But if you lay out those good principles here as far as the order of supplementation that we teach you in the course, and listen to that, help the person listen to their body, and you get that feedback from them, you'll know what pathway you're on if you're on the right path. So it's a matter of communication and teaching them to observe what they're feeling, because there's time in between tests, right? So you run your lab tests. It might be 3 months, 4 months before you run another lab to really get more insight to see what has shifted when it comes to the numbers. So you've got to be that good clinician, learn to listen to that person, and help them listen to their body to see if you're on the right pathway. And typically you're going to see a lot of those little mileposts along the way, guideposts along the way, that you'll say, hey, yeah, things are looking good here. No reason to change course at all. Moving forward, I like everything we're hearing, what we're seeing. This is great. Let's just keep doing it. And that'll be probably most of the time. It's just a relatively smooth process. We're trying to smooth that process down as much as we can for that person and get results as quickly as we can. We say we're not the quick fix, but we are about as quick as possible results, because we want a person to feel good. And as practitioners, we get to compress time for them. They're not going to spend the next 5 years looking around for answers and trying every supplement they hear about, or somebody's cleanse, or getting confused with different articles and trying different diets. We can compress time for people, which is, wow, what a gift. That's a great thing. If you ever had a chronic health condition for years and years and years, if we could say, hey, can we compress time here and knock this thing out, figure out what's going on in a matter of a month, and then see major headway and shift within a few months, that's a pretty awesome gift. That's exciting.
Absolutely agree with that.
Cool. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good one there. So hopefully that helps there. But a really valid question there, because it is very tempting to go after the big guys. So we'll work our way through up to those guys later on. Mm-hmm. All right. So second question here that I had about testing. And we are, just by the way, we're about 19 minutes left in the call here today, guys. So thank you guys for hanging on there. Several of you guys are still listening, so thanks for that. Number to call in to make a comment, ask a question, as always, 347-637-1378. Again, 347-637-1378. You are listening to the Functional Health Coaching Show, podcast of the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition course. So this person has a question on testing, so super important here. Just wondering how to do the saliva test if you were on bioidentical hormone creams. Been on them for a number of years, she says. Directions are to wait 12 to 24 hours after the last dose. I've been doing serial testing on hormones, and I'm wondering if I should skip them like the test instructions say. I don't like the symptoms when I do that. Or take them through the testing day. Planning to do it tomorrow, day 19, is suggested. Okay, so my thought with this here is I think one of my biggest concerns with taking a cream or administering a cream the same day that you're doing the saliva testing is I think the chances of contaminating your sample and the vials is relatively high, I feel like, depending on how those creams are administered and when you do those and how careful you are to not contaminate the vial. So I would hope that let's see, if you do a test in the morning, night, so it's like 12 hours, that you could go maybe 12 hours or so, or 14 hours without a cream for one day. I would think that would be very possible to do. She says that it's not. If you just absolutely can't do that, then we'll have to factor that in. But be very, very careful that you do not contaminate your vials with the cream. That would be my big concern there. As far as it affecting the readings, if you did not contaminate the vials, I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference. I think there's a lot of challenges with creams, getting the hormone levels right and the person doing well with those. So the results are probably going to have to be interpreted in light of a cream in the system and the possibility of supersaturation or a buildup in creams underneath the skin. Usually what I see with the cream approach there, if it's over-the-counter or more on the prescription side of things, usually you see some pretty extremely high levels because you have a sort of a buildup there of cream in the system, and you'll usually see that. So it is very smart to be doing saliva testing there to really get a true approximation of how that cream is building up in the system. That's been my experience with it. So, Ryan, what about you when we've got some different variables here with testing?
Brandon, you are actually the expert when it comes to hormone creams and bioidentical, so I will defer to you on that. I that's actually not an area that I'm too much of an expert on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. We'll go with my answer then. So the thing is, I guess my overarching couple comments I would say on this is, know your lab testing really well. Know the guidelines. Know that person really well. If you have an onboarding call, you bring a person on with you to work with you. Don't just send them a kit and expect them to figure it out 100%. I want to go through and ask some questions. Hey, what's your cycle like? What's your cycle status? We're talking about women here. What's your cycle status? What are you taking? We're going to ask about what supplements and creams prescriptions that they're taking. Let's know about that person as closely as you can, because you're trying the best you can to get results that you know how to interpret. So not that the results will be inaccurate, right? So if they, do for some reason contaminate that sample and you've got a progesterone of 1 million or whatever in there, well, it truly is that high. As high as the lab can test potentially. That is accurate, but is it useful? That's what we're trying to get to. So it's not an accuracy question. It's, hey, is this useful? So if progesterone is the maximum that the lab can test, well, we don't have that marker to evaluate and help us with our interpretation with that person. It's just a useless marker at that point, other than we know that the vial was probably contaminated. So we're trying to make that as smooth for that person and also reduce frustration. So if they have to redo the test and we're looking for, day 18 to 21 or so within the cycle, and we've got to wait again for that, another 3 weeks for that to happen again, plus you got to wait a few days for the lab results to come back, well, then that whole speed of delivery and us trying to help that person as quickly as possible to feel better, that kind of gets thrown out the window. So anything you can do to try to prevent a person from making a mistake with their testing that would give you non-useful results, we'll put it that way, you want to try to cut that off at the pass. Be proactive about that. Have your checklist of things you're going to ask that person just to make sure, and have them also read the instructions, make sure they're very clear. I tell them, hey, if you have a question, reach out to me as soon as you have a question. Let's get good results. And that'd be for any lab that you would do. So you have to take some of that responsibility as a practitioner to make sure, because there's many ways to mess up testing, right? There's many ways to goof things up, and people aren't doing it on purpose. It's just accidents happen. They forget about different things. And some people, as we know, we're working with, part of the reason they might be coming to us is brain fog. or they just can't keep the thoughts in very well. They just have trouble with that. So some of the details with testing sometimes can escape people. And so we step up and try to do the best we can to help them out.
That's a good point, Brandon. I'll often have a client, make sure that they read through the instructions, 2 or 3 times to make sure that they've really set in. And what I've started doing just as a general rule of practice is emailing a set of instructions to the client as their lab kits are on their way to them, so that they can also mentally prepare before they even receive the kit and read. Even though the instructions are in most cases going to be in the kit or in the box with the lab in question, it never hurts to make sure that they're prepared and that they can have a set of instructions on hand and read and reread them. And much better than having to repeat the test or make a mistake and have to be kind of starting from scratch again.
Indeed, we'll do the best we can. If accidents happen, okay, we get another test kit. We go from there. That's all right. But try to make it as good of an experience for your client as possible. FDN practitioners aren't the cheapest people on the block. We're not the quickest fix. We're not the just do that. You don't really have to do all that. And we're the opposite of that. We're the better fix. We're the longer fix. We're the premium side of things. And so with a premium product, whatever that may be that you deem as premium, there's a level of support and a level of attention to detail that we give that comes with that premium experience that we want to give people. I think we're the best out there, right? In what we do. And I'll say that we stay in our lane. We're not doctors, we're not playing doctors, but in what we do as far as the assessment of the body, we're tops. And it's because we do have that mentality, that really high quality, that really high standard that we have. And that was, Reed set that forth from the very beginning. If you ever go back to older Friday calls or you've heard anything recently with Reed, he talks a lot about integrity and the standards that we have as far as FDN practitioners. That's not just for protection for everybody. That's also for the client experience, your customer, the person that you're working with. That's going to be at the forefront. So being a good business person, and you can be a good practitioner and know how to interpret labs, but also have to be a good business person. Think about the client experience. That's really important too. So as you go, tune that up a little bit, get better at that, and just create a really amazing experience there. It looks good for you, looks good for FDN as a whole, and I think ultimately people appreciate that. They want results, and that's what that mentality will get that person. Will get lasting results. All right. Well, hey, 10 minutes left in the call here, so running low on time, but that is okay. I'll do a last call here for questions because we are running out of time. 347-637-1378. Hit 1 on your keypad, and you guys on the switchboard now want to ask a question or say hey, you can hit 1 and do that. Otherwise, we'll jump on to another question here. Maybe the last one on the list here today. Maybe we can cover a couple here, some quick ones, potentially. Okay, so this one I think is still relevant. So, hey, everyone, making the switch from the 401H over to the GI map. So, stool testing here. Do the same rules for 2 weeks of interfase apply before collection? Ryan, what do you think about that? You haven't answered that one. Do you do interfase before a GI map?
That question has come up a number of times in FDN support and the AFDNP group. To my understanding, from all the training I've received on the GI map from Diagnostic Solutions Labs, that you do not need to use a biofilm disruptor for DNA PCR type stool testing. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Well, actually, maybe I'll take that back. It potentially could, depending if you're a sensitive individual and you're really sick and you've got a lot of gut bugs going on and you're going in there and stirring up biofilms, you could potentially start having die-off type Herxheimer reactions before you even get the lab results in front of you. If you're going, heavy-handed with those biofilm disruptors like interfase. So I generally do not use a biofilm disruptor for testing the GI map, which also makes it easier in terms of compliance with the test because you don't have this 2-week period where you're having to prep for the test with a biofilm disruptor. And in my experience, without using, I've been running the GI map for probably about 3 years now, and it still doesn't seem to negatively affect the test. The correlation's still strong, and we're still seeing plenty of bugs show up between H. pylori and parasites and so forth without using a biofilm disruptor at all. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I don't think it's necessary. If you are going to do it, I would definitely start low and go slow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. That's what I understand as well. So There you go. Good stuff. So, but biofilm is something you do want to address at some point and throughout the protocol there. So, but maybe not before that one.
And I know, a lot of FDNs are using a biobotanical research product like Biocidin. And the neat thing about Biocidin is it does have biofilm disrupting properties. So you kind of get a 2-for-1 there in that sense with using Biocidin that way. And if you were to decide not to use a biofilm disruptor on the first round of GI map testing, and you were just sticking with Biocidin plus whatever herbs you might have on hand, then on a retest, if you're still seeing that same parasite, for example, that's when you might want to bring in something on top of that, right? Like interfase or NAC, can be used as a biofilm disruptor. That's N-acetylcysteine, which is also a precursor to glutathione. There are some other ones out there too. There's the one from Kirkman, right? I'm trying to remember the name of that biofilm disruptor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. But that's often how I'll personally approach it is, just using Biocidin initially with, say Parasite X or Pylori X or Candid X, those types of good broad spectrum formulas that are going to be, contain those antimicrobial herbs and using Biocidin as a biofilm disruptor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty cool. 2-for-1 with the NAC there. That's a great supplement all around. There's a lot of good things for the body.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
And it's
all
actually super affordable too.
That too. You're right. A little less expensive than glutathione.
Yep.
All right. Hey, we got time for another. So let's see here. So this is one, and maybe I've answered this before. I hope we haven't, but it might bear repeating. Can I get a recommendation for a good, dependable glucometer that isn't outrageously expensive to resupply the strips? Either way, I'd love to have a couple suggestions of trustworthy brands. I bought one and it read pretty consistently high. Ended up testing against my functional medicine docs, and it was high. Thanks for any advance for feedback in advance. So, glucometer. So, I think it's a really handy tool to have around. I do ask most of my clients personally to give me some blood sugar readings as part of the intake process. So, especially if I think that could be a concern for them, I'd still like to test and not guess, but vast majority of people, I say, go ahead and do some blood sugar readings for me. So, 4 times a day, 4 days in a row, before meals and before bed is sort of a good starting point to get a feel for what might be going on as far as blood sugar dysregulation goes. So if you see really high or really low or a lot of fluctuations there, that can be, it's a pretty cheap, easy test relatively, and it gives you a baseline to get started with. So as you're working through a dress protocol, you might have them retest in a month or a couple months from now and see if blood sugar is looking better. And typically it will be, right? So that blood sugar imbalance that's going on there, it's another symptom. So through the process we go through with FDN, with the dress protocol, usually blood sugar stays much better regulated. So I think it is important to get that. I don't know of a particular brand. I think the most popular one I believe that people have used, they still have it there, is at Walmart. I think it's Relion is the meter. I think it's about $25, maybe less than that for the meter, and then strips are, I think they're less than $1 a piece, something like that. So for $50, something like that, you probably have enough strips to run testing twice, I would say. That has done well for me. There's more fancy ones out there. You really don't need anything really super fancy, honestly, when it comes to that. So you're just going to get the reading and record that, keep it kind of simple. Just do read the precautions there and, well, not precautions, but the recommendations on getting a good sample there. I think you got to be kind of clean hands, things like that they're looking for to help make sure the readings are good. If you do have some oddball readings there that don't seem to line up, I might question that meter, but use that one with some success. I've seen the 14-day ones there that are like a continuous glucose meter. I don't know that those are available to the public prescription, but those would be kind of nice to have that information there. Ryan, do you do much blood sugar testing? Any kind of cool devices out there you can get a feel for blood sugar regularity?
Yeah, so absolutely. And I'll typically especially do that with clients that have very obvious blood sugar handling issues, like say they're pre-diabetic, or on their blood chemistry, maybe they have high insulin, high glucose, high hemoglobin A1C. Those are probably the three that I'm looking at the most in terms of blood sugars markers. With the hemoglobin A1C being like a 3-month average of your insulin. So that's kind of a neat marker because it gives you more of a long-term picture. And if you're seeing the hemoglobin A1C, I believe, above 5.6, 5.8, that's starting to get into metabolic syndrome territory, possibly, prediabetes and that sort of thing. Of course, we don't diagnose or treat, but if you did see something like that on blood chemistry, that's where you might potentially refer out to, an MD or an endocrinologist to get looked at. But if I'm seeing signs of, poor blood sugar, either through those blood markers, high cortisol, low cortisol, that's where I'm thinking of using a cheap glucometer. And like you said, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. I own one myself that I got on Amazon, I think for around $30. I think I own the Care Touch brand, and it's very well rated on, it has like a near 5-star review on Amazon. So pretty well rated. Doesn't need to, cost you a fortune or anything like that. So yeah, definitely, doing those blood sugar readings. It's sometimes for clients, seeing is believing. We can talk them into, reducing stress and eliminating food sensitivities and decreasing refined sugars and carbohydrates in their diet to get their blood sugar under control. But when you see those numbers right there and get that instant feedback, it's a whole different kind of visceral feeling to have that in front of you. Very much so. I agree. I've got a client. I'll add this and we'll wrap up the call here. We're running out of time. I have a client that started testing her blood sugar first thing in the morning, and she noticed an extremely good correlation between what she ate the night before, what the morning blood sugar looked like. So that solidified it in her mind that she knew about her macronutrients, what she should be focusing on at nighttime. So it reinforced that, and it's a good thing. So, all right. Well, guys, apologize for tech issues earlier. But we got through 4 questions and got to congratulate some awesome folks there, Erica, Melanie, and Tiana this week. And that's good. We'll be back next week, though. So bring your questions, call in. Looking forward to talking to you guys then. So enjoy the weekend. Ryan, thanks for being on with me, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.